Alright everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode. I'm making my way to Thika Town, the 8th largest urban center in Kenya. And that was a great song by a local artist. And for the friends who did not understand the local dialect, the guy was saying that the most readily available thing in Thika is love and alcohol. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the city of love and booze. And actually this is the entry point. As you can see, we are just leaving Thika Superhighway to get into Thika Town. And remember, the highway, which is actually the best in the region, is named after our town. Well, that is the picture of the old Thika Road around the 1900. That was during the colonial era. And this one here was taken around early 2000s. You can see the beautiful transformation. Well, the city of love and alcohol is in vicinity. That is Thika Town. And we want to explore it extensively. Of course, we want to see how is everything, its social life, how businesses are faring, and of course, how the town is designed. Remember, Thika is one of the oldest towns in the country. In fact, it was made a town in 1925 by the then government, the colonial government. And so we want to see whether it is stuck on its past or it is a modern town. I will also be giving you some interesting numbers about the town and why it is said to be the next city in the country. I will also be giving you the town's connection with one of the African greatest seer who goes by the name Mugo wa Kibiro, and how one of his prophecies about the town made the then colonial government take some drastic measures to make sure the prophecy does not come to pass, as it involved the fall of the British Empire. Well, for information that is not a bedtime story by Mr. Lone Traveler, it's a documented history. In fact, if time allows, I will take you to the site where everything happened, which is currently under the National Museum of Kenya. In the meantime, I just left Garissa Road and I'm entering Thika Town. For now, we can say the town center. And the road that I just left, the Garissa Road, goes all the way to Garissa, and it can take you to towns like Mwingi, Kitui, and Mandera. Anyway, for now, let's explore Thika Town. But before then, let me take this opportunity to welcome you to our YouTube channel, Village to Town TV, a channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent. I am overwhelmed by the love that you have continued to show us. In fact, subscribers are growing in crazy numbers. Shout out to all of you. And if you have not yet subscribed, kindly consider doing so. It's absolutely free, but it means the world to us. Also, you can check out our sister channel. It goes by the name Kikuyu Traveling Media. You can pass by there, show some love by subscribing, and we'll appreciate. Now back to the town of love and booze. Well, remember Thika Town is in Kiambu County, which is one of the 47th county in the country. But one thing you should note is that it is near the border of Kiambu County and Murang'a County. Actually, the two counties are separated by a nearby river that goes by the name River Chania. And so it is good to acknowledge that although the bigger part of Thika is in Kiambu County, some estates or satellite towns are actually in Murang'a County. Well, needless to say, Machakos County, which is actually one of the counties in Ukambani, is also around the corner, not very far from here. And that's why I'm told the town has a significant number of people from Ukambani, despite being in Kikuyu land. Anyway, I want to take a left turn to get into the town center, where everything started, as I'll be taking you to Thika Old Town in a few. In fact, if you have sharp eyes, you can notice a monument which is shaped as a pillar, and I'm told it was erected by the colonial government in the early 1900s. It is right here on my right. let me show you its old photo, which was taken in the 1920s. You can see some old-timers in the photo, in a suit. You can see another one, probably taken in the 70s or early 80s, where the monument is seen on the right. Well, that is the good old days. They say a picture can tell 1,000 words. I agree. It is such a beautiful piece of history to watch. History goes that the old pillar was erected by the colonial government to commemorate the founding of Thika as a town. And funny enough, more than 100 years later, Thika is still a town, as it has not yet evolved to a city. Well, as you can see, we are still cruising nicely in Thika Town. It is a beautiful day out here. Actually, it is on a Sunday. That's why the flow of people is not that big. Well, I can see a very old building on my right, probably built in 1930s and 40s. Check out this photo of the same house, which was probably taken in the 80s or 70s. Told you this is a historic town. And remember, Thika is an industrial town, very industrialized. In fact, at one point in time, it was the most industrialized town in the country. I don't know whether that changed. I have not heard of it. In fact, it went by the name the Birmingham City of Kenya. Apparently, I'm told that this is one of the most notorious streets as far as prostitution is concerned. And it happened even during the day. In fact, if you're keen enough, you can even spot some ladies of the night. They are out here selling love. And it seems like the number has reduced significantly. Actually, the last time I passed by here, it was around 2019. The number was so high. But maybe it's because it's on a Sunday. The ladies also take a day off. But I'm sure the numbers will increase during the night. Anyway, let me not dwell on that topic too much. I don't know what you think about that trade. In fact, they say it is the oldest trade in the world. Is it a moral issue, or is it as a result of economic hardship? And what do you think the society should do to address the issue? Should we arrest those engaging in the trade, both the proprietors and the buyers, which is actually the norm? Should we rehabilitate them and give them better economic opportunities? Yeah, write to us on the comment section below. Tell us what do you think. Keep the conversation going, and we will appreciate. Well, it seems like on this section of the town, businesses are thriving, despite being on a Sunday. It is actually around 4 p.m. and we are having a good time right here in the city of love. And actually behind these fruit vendors is the bus station. The small space between the vendors will take you there. And so this is Thika downtown. Well, I've noted that the fruit vending business is doing quite well in this side of the town. You can take a quick look on my left. It seems like everyone is selling fruits. Well, one of the most significant historic sites here in Thika Town is the Mugumo Gardens. And it is named after a giant fig tree, which was the biggest in the country. Well, for the interest of history, Mugumo tree, or the fig tree, is a sacred tree among the Agikuyu people, who are the majority of people living around here. And history goes that the giant fig tree, which had a 15-foot diameter, you can do a quick math and see what kind of a tree that was. And this was around the 16th century, and an ancient legendary, or seer, who went by the name Mugo Akibiru, prophesied under this tree. The guy is quite popular among the Agikuyu people, and one of his prophecy was that one day there will come a race of people whose skin complexion would resemble a small pale-colored frog that lives in water. He also went ahead to say that one will be able to see their blood flowing under their skins, just like the frog. And to scare the people more, the seer said that these pale strangers would have clothing that resembles butterflies. that is, in their colorful aspects. So you can just imagine you being an African living in the dark era. You have never seen a white person or a yellow person for that case. And you have never imagined that there are butterfly-like clothes as you are used to wearing hides and skin. And just one morning this year tells you that these pale strangers will raid your country and they will carry magic sticks that will produce fire. Well, of course, not many believed him, but one day the British came with their colorful clothes and sticks producing fire, which were actually the guns. The seer had also prophesied the coming of an iron snake that would have many legs, like an earthworm, and would be traveling on a metallic line, and it will be swallowing people from one point and vomiting them at another. And this came to pass when the British completed the Kenya-Uganda Railway and introduced the first train in the country, which Mugoa Kibiro had seen as a metallic snake swallowing and vomiting people from one point to the other. Well, all these prophecies happened in this town as the tree was around here. Well, history goes that when the British finally arrived here and they were told about the prophecies by the people living in the area, they were super excited to learn that someone who lived centuries before they came here foretold about their coming in the country and establishing their colonial government here. However, one thing got the Britons' attention and got them scared as hell. They learned that the seer had also prophesied that the fall of the fig tree right here in the town will symbolize the fall of the British rule in the country. Well, many years passed, and in the 1950s, the Mau Mau War broke out. The colonial government learned that the Mau Mau warriors were interested in cutting down the tree as they really believed on the prophecy. And to stop this, tight security was established around the tree, and the British government also reinforced the tree to prevent it from falling. You can see the metallic ring around the tree stump, that's what remained. And since the tree was growing old, the British feared that despite the tight security, the tree will fall naturally. Well, the government fear was confirmed as the fig tree was stricken by lightning one morning and actually splitting into two. Well, one part fell in 1963, around May, and by June the country was given some independence. Actually, they were allowed to have the first black prime minister, and the second part fell in November 1963, and by December the country gained full independence from the British. Well, I know the story sounds crazy, but the first Kenyan government secured the land and made a park, just a small one, around the tree where people could enter by paying a small fee. And then the then first president of the republic, Jomo Kenyatta, planted another fig tree right next to the one that had fallen. And I'm told that the new fig tree is still standing today. Well, I don't know what do you think about the whole story, about the prophecies, the falling of the fig tree, the coming of the whites, and the African traditional religion. I want you to write us a comment on the comment section down here. Tell us whether or not you believe on the story and whether or not I should take you down to the park, as covering that will need a video of its own. Well, that's nice. We are still cruising here in Thika Town. We have the war cemetery on my right. This is where the Briton soldiers who died during the First and Second World Wars are buried. Well, before then I did pass Thika Prison. I also passed the Level 5 hospital, which is actually the biggest hospital in Kiambu County. And before the cemetery, we just passed by the Thika Technical Institute, which is one of the oldest colleges in the country. So this road serves as the government institutions area. In fact, behind the clothes stalls on my right are various secondary and primary schools. But I want to show you one of the largest tertiary learning institutions here in the country, and that is the Mount Kenya University. Actually, it is on both sides of the road, and it is privately owned, and it is home to thousands of learners. Well, let me see whether I can give you a glimpse of the inside. Well, I'm back to the town center. I want to show you some of the major infrastructures right here in the town. Actually, Thika Stadium is right here in the town. I'll be showing you that in a few. There is also Thika Law Court. You'll be passing there. And I'll also be showing you some other few amenities before I give you the numbers, which I promise they are quite interesting. Well, right on my left, you can see the green wall. That is Thika Stadium. It is a modern one. Let me get a nice angle so that I can get the best shot. Although you can't see the inside due to the perimeter wall. Well, here is the entrance. You can see the writings are on the wall. That is Thika Stadium for you. And right opposite to the stadium, on my right, this is the entrance to Thika Law Court. Well, there is also another important social amenity right in front, and it is the Huduma Center for the entire Kiambu County. You can see that on my right. It is one-stop shop where you can get all government services. Whether you want to take your personal ID, register a company, or you just want to do a random thing like replacing your passport, that's the place to go. Well, let's just take a few rounds around the town, enjoy the evening here in Thika Town, and I'll be back with more data, especially on the population and the real estate that is on. Some really nice information for people who want to settle in Thika in future, that is by investing in land. Either you want to buy a property, maybe a ready built one, or you want to rent a house, or even for those who want to start businesses here in Thika in future. Well, I just want to show you the oldest part of the town, where it all started. And I'm told that it was started by the Indians, who in fact came here before the whites. And funny enough, the old buildings are still standing tall. Just take a look at the buildings on my left, and you will notice that most of them are quite old. Of course, there is nothing on my right. It is actually a public park. But if you are quite observant, you will notice that most buildings on my left are more than 50 years old. I have also noted that this part of the town is a bit cool. It is less chaotic. You can even see that some kids are having a good time. It is on a Sunday afternoon. There is also an Indian temple right in front. I hope you can see it, with a very beautiful gate. I don't know what color is this. Maybe it's orange. It is written Visa Oshwa Community, Thika. And you can see that it is right in the middle of the old town. And that tells you that the Indian community is not new here. Well, let's quickly check out the numbers. And remember, I told you that Thika Town is the 8th biggest town in the country. That is in terms of the population. And in terms of the economic development, I'm not quite sure about that. But Thika is not poor either. Well, the town has a total population of 245,820 people. That is as of 2019. So probably 6 years down the line, the population has hit the 300,000 mark. That is according to the Kenyan Bureau of Statistics, which conducts a general census after every 10 years. And in terms of the population density, there are 2,689 people living in a square kilometer here in Thika Town, which is not that bad for a small town. Remember, I told you that a square kilometer is equal to 250 acres of land. You can do the maths and see how the numbers are doing. And in terms of the population change, the government estimates that Thika's population is growing at an annual population rate of 5.9%. That is per year, and that tells you that there is a very high number of people who are migrating to Thika, either to start life or to just establish themselves here. There is also a high birth rate among the dwellers. In fact, about 15 years ago, that is in 2010, the population was estimated at 138,772. And 10 years later, the population jumped to 245,000. You can see the gap. The growth rate is real. In terms of gender distribution, the Thika population is not that bad as far as the gender gap is concerned. In fact, 50.9% of the total population are women, which is about 125,104, while the number of men is not that less. In fact, they are 49.1%, which is equals to 120,698. So that tells you that the gap between men and women, it is in favor of women, with about 5,000 more women, which is a normal distribution here in the country. In terms of the intersex, which are those people who identify with having both genders, they are only 18 in the town. Well, I'm back to Thika Superhighway. I'm sure you can see some cars passing by. And by now, I'm sure you have noted that the town is off the main road. It is actually between Garissa Road and Chania River, which I'm going to show you in a few seconds. And so the irony is, if you're passing by here, either from Murang'a to Nairobi, or you're either coming from the Nairobi side and you're going to Murang'a or toward Merus and Nyeri, and of course you're using Thika Road, you'll never notice that there is a town of such magnitude nearby. Well, I just want to show you something here next to the highway. Actually, there are two rivers that meet here. That is Thika River and Chania River. which further downstream drains to Athi River, which is, of course, not far from here. It is such a beautiful scene here, I tell you. Well, those cars are coming from Murang'a side and other towns beyond, such as Nyeri, Embu, Meru, Isiolo, counties like Tharaka Nithi, Kirinyaga, just name them. Remember, this road is the entry to the Mount Kenya region, which is the central part of the country. There is also a beautiful fall around here that goes by the name Chania Fall, which is right inside the Blue Post Hotel, which is also a historic site. The hotel was established by the colonial government back then. I hope I'm going to show you that. It is right in front. And you can tell that that was a super old bridge. In fact, not all types of vehicles are allowed here. On my left, that was the entry point to Thika from Murang'a side. But at this point, this is the Blue Post Hotel. It is part of it. And the entry point is a few yards ahead. Anyway, let's get back to the numbers. And I want to check at the age distribution, which is quite interesting. Well, almost 30% of the people living in the town, that is 29.6%, are children aged between 0 and 14, which are basically primary school attending students. That means that 72,794 are just super minors who depends on their parents. Well, about 68.9%, which is 169,419, are people aged between 15 and 64 years. They are the majority. And this is where it gets interesting. Only 2.5% are aged 65 and above. That means that there are only 3,582 old-timers in Thika Town, which of course makes a lot of sense, as towns are not suitable for old people. I mean, they are not quite friendly, as life in such environment is quite competitive. Well, the numbers get quite weird the higher you go up the age set. For instance, for those aged 90s and above, there are only 142 in the town. Well, the age set between 80 and 89, it has only 417 members in the town, while that aged between 70 and 79 are 1,420. Well, the biggest or the largest age group in town are those aged between 20 and 29, as they are 65,642 members, followed closely by those aged between 0 and 9, that are little children, and they are 52,504. Remember I told you that Thika is one of the most industrialized town in the country, and that is in the region. In fact, I'm told that there are more than 150 factories in the town. 100 of them are small-scale industries, while 50 are major factories. Well, some of these factories that have their bases in Thika, one of them is Bidco Oil Refineries. And actually it is headquartered here in Thika. And I'm told it is one of the biggest manufacturer in the country. And some of its major brands are some edible oils, such as Elianto, Sun Gold, Olive Gold. There is Golden Fry. They also have some fat, such as Kimbo, Cowboy, and Chipsy. I'm sure most old-timers can tell you that all these brands are legendary. I'm also told that Bidco Oil employs more than 2,000 people in its Thika plant. Also, another big company that operates from here is Del Monte Pineapples, which is the largest producer of pineapples in the country. Well, let's quickly check at the real estate segment And it is good to know that Thika is a big area. As I told you, it's a big town. And it has some satellite towns, which varies in prices in terms of buying and renting. For instance, there are rich neighborhoods in the town, and there are also slums. But for the sake of this video, let's focus on Thika CBD, which was the place that we are visiting today. Well, to buy a piece of plot, that is an eighth of an acre, which is 50 by 100, you will need between 60 million and 100 million Kenya shillings. Well, to rent a house, let's say a 2-bedroom apartment, I'm told you need between 20,000 Kenya shillings and 30,000, depending on its location and condition of the house. Remember, some buildings are quite old, while others are new, so the prices vary. Well, to get a good studio apartment, that is a bed-sitter, right in the town, you will need between 9,000 and 20,000 Kenya shillings, also depending on its condition and also its location. Well, let me leave you at that. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. And of course, if you have watched the video so far, that means that you somehow like what we are doing. So kindly consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, Village to Town TV, a channel that is dedicated to continue showcasing beautiful villages, towns, and cities across the continent. Don't also forget to like the video so that it can be recommended to as many people as possible. You can also consider smashing the notification bell so that every time we post, you will be among the first few people to be notified. Also remember to pass by our sister channel, which is Kiku Traveling Media. Make sure you subscribe and enjoy our content. I'm also super grateful for those people who have been supporting me from day one with all kind of support, from calls to watching, liking, commenting. I appreciate you all, and may the Almighty bless you. Thank you.